Then after your specific objective, the next thing you now go into is the literature review. So literature review is arranged in such a way that it's just like a review or a seminar. You see? So like this person now, you want to write on, these are his topics in literature review. Benign 2.8 benign process of hyperplasia. After explaining benign process of hyperplasia, he goes further to talk about the prevalence of benign. He now put 2.8.1, 2.8.2, still under benign process of hyperplasia. Then 2.8.2.1 is under pathogenesis of BP. So you want to talk about pathogenesis, now talk about the effect of androgen, effect of estrogen, effect of aging. All of them are under the pathogenesis of BPH. So that's why you see it is having 2.8, 2.1, 2.8.2.2, 2.8.2.3, 2.8.2.4. You see? So that is how you arrange your literature review. So arrange it that way. Then you see, after literature review, you now go into materials and methods. Materials and method, which has to do with stating how you did your project, how you carried out the research, the materials you used, and how you did it, carried out the laboratory investigation. So it describes, explain what work was done and how it was done. Explain why you choose the method. So it has to do with details of instrumentation, samples collection, reagent and experimental technique, appropriate control, and experimental conditions. All of them are what is stated in. So this is how you arrange your chapter 3. You write material and method. You write material and method. Material and method 3.1. Then you have 3.1.1. 3.1.1. You talk about collection of plant material and authentication. How you collected the plant material and how it was authenticated in case you are working with plants. Then the next one is talk about 3.2, which is preparation of the aqueous extract. How you prepare the extract that you worked on. And you talk about separation of fractions, qualitative and quantitative phytochemical analysis. Under, for example, you talk about qualitative phytochemical analysis, quantitative phytochemical analysis, then determination of free. So this is how you arrange your methodology. You must state the way, how you collected the plant, how you source for the plant. If you are working with a plant, if you are working with microbe, you explain how you source for the microbe, how you isolated it, okay, how you determine the strain. All those things are how you ensured some of the precautions that you took to ensure that it is actually the particular microbe that you need that was isolated and used for the study. So all these things are very what you do in your materials and method. Okay. Then you now go over to results. Result comes before discussion. So under result is just for you to, in your result, like I said, the way research is designed is such that from your specific objective, the first specific objective will be the first under literature, under material method. It will also be the first explanation of the method that you use to arrive at that particular objective. So you state the method of that first specific objective. So if your first specific objective, for instance, in this particular presentation, to determine the quality and quantity of phytochemical present, this is the first specific objective this person wants to achieve. It's expected that in his methodology, He's going to start by telling us, first of all, among other objectives, he will first present how he determined the quality and the quantity of the phytochemical present in airpet. That will be the first one, followed by how he got the percentage yield, how to determine percentage yield and weight and RF values of the various compounds that is isolated from the crude extract. He will tell us, explain it under the methodology. Then he will now go to the third one and explain also how he elucidated the structure of the isolated compounds using FTIR and NMR. So these are what will be under methodology. According to the way the specific objective is, that is how the methodology will be arranged, one after the other. Then, when you now switch over to the results, which is the chapter 4, in the result section also, one we want to see that the first result there will be the result of quality and quantity of phytochemical present in airpet. That will be the first result there. So that when your external examiner is reading, as he's opening your specific objective, you go to your result page, you will see that the first specific objective has been answered. You go to the second specific objective to determine the percentage, you will see it in the result that has been present. Don't interchange it. Don't scatter it. The way you arranged your specific objective is the way you are going to arrange your methodology. And also that is the way you are going to, the sequence you are going to use to arrange your results. So specific objective 1 should be methodology 1 and also should be result 1. Specific objective of to determine the quality and quantity of phytochemical present in airpet should be also the first objective, the first methodology under chapter 3, which is determination of quality and quantity of phytochemicals present in airpet. They will want to see how you determined it, the first one. Then they will go back to the result section and look at the result. The first result there is phytochemical quantity and quality of phytochemical present in airpet. You state the result. And that is how result has the research work is done. It follows a sequence, starting from the specific objective, the same sequence that it is. That is how it will be in your result. Then when you finish presenting your result will just be a table or a graph, table or graph, table or graph, table or graph. Okay. If you are presenting in table, you present all in table. If you are presenting in graph, you present in graph. Graphical presentation, that is bar chart or pie chart, or if you are presenting graph, you present. So the only thing is that in each result you are presenting, if it is table you are using to present a particular result, use table to present it. Don't present with table and present with the bar chart or histogram at the center. No. For that particular result, like the quantity of phytochemical present in airpet, if it is table you are using, you present all of them in table. Quantity of phytochemical present in airpet. If it is graph you want to use to present each of them, you use the histogram or bar chart to present it in that particular result. Then you go to the next result to determine percentage yield and weight. If it is graph you want to use graph. If it is table you want to use to present it, use table to present it. But don't present table at the center and present graph for one particular result. No. You can present table for result 1, then use graph for result 2. No problem. It's accepted. But don't go and present graph for result 1 and also present table for result 1 again. It's not acceptable that way. Okay? So that is it. Then, when you have finished presenting your result, okay? So usually the result will be, we present a table, then the table you present, you have to explain under it, the footnote of the table, the abbreviations in that table, or if it is graph, the legend, what does the legend mean? Put the meaning of the legends, okay? Then if it is table, all the abbreviations in that table, write it in full. Also put the standard deviation or the SEM that you used. Put the probability, okay? The probability, whether it is at which probability did you do it? At p greater than 0. At p less than 0.05, that is significant, or at which confidence limit. You must put those specific things. The number of the sample of the group, if there are 5 or 6, you state it, n equal to 6. It must be stated in the table very well. Everything must be there. Okay? And then you will now explain the table, the result briefly. Say usually the result will just be, if you did a comparative analysis, so this is significant compared to this is significantly decreased compared to this value is significantly decreased compared to this. Just state it that way. Don't explain it. The result doesn't require explanation. It's just for you to state it the way it is, that this one is significant compared to this is significant, this is lower than the control, this is compared to group 1, this is lower compared to group, this is significant compared to this is not significant compared to this. Just present it that way and leave it like that. Don't go and tell us explaining how the result is. It's not necessary in that result. So that means each page should be one result. If it is table you are presenting, that page should be table, then a brief explanation of that table, the result in that table. You go to the next result, or it will be on another page, separate page. That is how the result is presented. Then when you finish, you now go over to the you go over to the discussion. So discussion, conclusion, and recommendation is chapter 5. What is discussion? So discussion is to interpret and describe the significance of your findings, the significance of your result. See, it's in discussion that I do that. So look at a typical example of discussion. These are the typical example of discussion. The typical example of discussion is this. Look at this discussion. It says an essential index estimated from DPPH free radical scavenging test is the 50% inhibitory concentration. Inhibitory concentration, IC50, shows the quantity of antioxidants necessary to reduce the DPPH radical concentration by 50%. You state your source of reference. The lower the IC50 value, the higher the. On the other hand, the reducing power of an antioxidant. Now, look at how this one in black is telling you, explaining to you the parameter in that particular result. The parameter in that result is explaining to you what it is. Okay? Then, the second aspect of that particular explanation is stating the result proper. So in the present investigation, both assays exhibited a lower IC50 value and a higher reducing capacity for beta-sitosterol and alpha-linoleic acid that is comparable to the reference compound. This is the result. The first statement there is explaining that particular result, that IC50 value and reducing capacity. Then the second one is stating the result now. Then the third one is interpreting that result, explaining what it is, the significance of that result. These data show that beta-sitosterol and linoleic acid are the major components responsible for the antioxidant capacity of IPET. So you can see the person has stated the result and now giving the reason why that result is like that. Okay? So due to the fact that beta-sitosterol has a molecular structure that allows it to interact with free radicals, it has significant antioxidant properties that can neutralize free radicals and protect cells from oxidative damage by scavenging reacting oxygen species. So this is giving you the reason why the result is the weight, the result that was presented, the significance of that result, the meaning of that result. Okay? Then you see the next thing that you see in green is using existing literature to back up your result. So you say previous studies have also attributed the strong antioxidant potential of several plant extracts to the presence of beta-sitosterol or linoleic acid. So you are using something that some other person have found to back up your own result, or for you to say our result is in contrast with that of previous studies, which shows that or that our result is in line with. Okay, so that is what the way a discussion is done. Explain the parameter you want to, just use brief one sentence explanation of the parameter, state the results of that parameter, and then explain the significance of that result, the biochemical significance of that result, the biochemical reasoning behind the result that you got. Then use literature review, other studies to back it up. That is for each paragraph, for each result. That is what you are going to do. Each result, you do it that way. Are you getting what I'm saying? So that's exactly what you see here. Then after discussion, you now go to conclusion. You see, now move into conclusion. The opinion you have after considering all the information about something. The essence of the conclusion is to summarize your principal finding, to summarize it. Okay? The conclusion is the answer to the aim of the study and the statement of problem. The answer to the aim of the study. For instance, this study suggests that the major bioactive compound in airpet responsible for its pharmacological properties are beta deep out of which beta contributes significantly to the plant antioxidant capacity. This study further authenticates the ethnomedicinal use of Plectranthus tuber as a source of antioxidant. So, where did this conclusion come from? You remember, for instance, this person now, the reason why he made this conclusion is that the aim that the person wanted to, the aim of the present study was to isolate and characterize the possible active compound present in aqueous extract of P. excellentiis, and then to determine the in vitro antioxidant capacity. So from that aim, that where he brought out this conclusion. After his study, he now arrived at this conclusion that you are seeing here. So, conclusion is an answer to the aim of your study and also the statement of problem. Okay? Then now go over to recommendation. Recommendation is what you recommend from your study. From the significance of your study, you are making some recommendation to people. There are two aspects to recommendation. Making recommendation based on the significance of your findings and also giving room for further study. Okay, explaining about further study. Okay, and the limitation of your study and also the further suggestion for further study. So they are the aspect of recommendation. Like this one, now look at this one. Say, being that P. excellentiis is a good source of antioxidant comparable to vitamin C, the consumption of P. excellentiis should be encouraged, especially for the elderly who are prone to oxidative stress-induced diseases. This is a recommendation that this person is giving based on his conclusion. He has concluded that these studies are the major bioactive compound present this contributes to the plant's antioxidant capacity. See? So he is now saying that based on that the consumption of P. excellentiis should be encouraged, especially for the elderly who are prone to oxidative stress-induced diseases. This is a recommendation. Then another recommendation is given now that valuable data obtained from the present study can be applied for subsequent clinical research. Aimed at developing potential therapeutic substances from P. excrescentis. So this is suggestion for further studies, that this study can be applied in a clinical setting, in a clinical research, that is by using human being to do the study, so that you can develop potential therapeutic substances like drugs from P. excrescentis. So this is, then the last aspect is now the references. Look at the typical references. We are using upper style reference, 7th edition. Look at the reference. The journal title, the journal Food Chemistry is usually italicized, and then the journal volume, then the issue is in bracket, then the page. See it how it's written. Usually we advise you, if you want to do referencing of a journal or article from a journal, you use Google, copy the reference and paste it in Google Scholar, and then Google Scholar will help you to you select the particular style of reference you want. If it is upper style, select it. It makes all your reference to be uniform. Okay, so like this one, and that is how this person did this one. So you can see how this reference is written. Study the way the reference is written. So it is just for you to see that the reference, the name of the authors, you see, and the last person, you put and before the last name, and then usually the surname is written first before the initial. Surname initial, surname initial, and then determination of the total phenolic, flavonoid and proline content in Burkina Faso and honey, so like the radical scavenging activity. See, the name of the journal is Food Chemistry, it's italicized. The volume is 91, the issue is 3, it is bracketed. Volume is italicized. Then the page is written this way. Then if it's one that's collected from a website, the website is like Medicinal Plant Name Service 2020 HTTPS. Look at the website. You write access the day you access it. Okay? That is how to do it. So